It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
U2 coming to Michigan this Sunday, Spartan Stadium, in what promises to be a sold-out event, a year and a half in the making, because it was supposed to be last year this weekend, but Bono hurt his back, and so they had to scrub it for 1 year, and so we've waited with our fingers crossed about the weather, because as Pat Gillespie told me, the weather on that date last year was perfect. So let's hope this Sunday it is too. Rory McIlroy was nearly perfect in winning the U.S. Open, a record-breaking performance at Congressional Country Club. He is from a golf club in Northern Ireland called Loch Earn, and you probably saw it on his shirt when he was playing, on the collar and on the back. Loch Earn is a pretty fancy, snazzy golf resort in Northern Ireland. It's only a couple of years old. And Lynn McCool is the director of golf there. Talked with her earlier this morning, and I said, Lynn, I got to believe last night at Loch Earn, because of the time difference, people were up very late watching the U.S. Open and having a real hoolie. Was it a bash there at the club?
There certainly was a hoolie. We all gathered in the clubhouse here at Loch Earn, and big crowd last night, actually. It was a great crowd, and we had a champagne toast to Rory and to his dad and to Jim Tracy as well. Great atmosphere. We're all a little bit hoarse this morning, but it's all well worth it with the celebrations.
22 years old, and they're talking about him being the new Tiger Woods. As you noticed yesterday, I mean, already there was a lot of security. He's definitely gone big time now. But what's he really like? You've been around him. You've met him. He's been around the resort there. What's he like?
Well, Rory is a great young man. He's got a fantastic personality. He really is, a people person. And I think a lot of that stems from his mum and dad. They're very down-to-earth people, lovely, ordinary people. And, they keep him very grounded. And, he's always very gracious to anyone that has helped him over the years. Jim Tracy here at Loch Earn has supported Rory for many, many years. And, Rory is always, thankful for that relationship. And, he's a great young man and, as I say, a great personality. And all the kids love him. He was here at the resort only a few weeks ago, 2 weeks after the Masters. And, he spent a lot of time with the kids down at the New Faldo Academy. And he just had fun with them. And then he went out to play golf. And he didn't mind that people come out to watch him. And he's always, able to sign autographs. And, it's fantastic. He's a young star. Brilliant.
So what you're telling me is that between that one bad drive at the Masters off the 10th tee and dominating the U.S. Open, he came to Loch Earn to practice.
He certainly did. He took a bit of time out, and he came down here for 4 days. He has a house on the resort, and his parents now would use it a lot. But Rory, any chance he gets when he's at home, he likes to come down. He came down with his 2 dogs. He walked around the resort, and he just took it all in, and really had a chilling time. And I'm sure that was very good for him. And his preparations going out to the U.S. Open.
How about that? What you're saying, the road to the U.S. Open goes through Loch Earn.
Well, all roads lead to Loch Earn.
Lynn McCool at Rory McIlroy's Northern Ireland Resort. Tim Wheatley on the other end of our line right now, the general manager of Red Hawk Golf Club in Tawas, Michigan. Please reconnect with Tim Wheatley if you would. Then maybe he lost his line there. I wanted to get his opinion on, as a golf professional, on what he saw yesterday and why all of a sudden can one guy break out from the pack and be completely dominant against a strong field of other players. It was absolutely astonishing. And is there any rhyme or any reason to it? And if so, how can we provoke that in our own game? Gary McCord, the Champions Tour player, former PGA Tour player and broadcaster for CBS, is in Michigan today, in pure Michigan, if you will. He's at Boyne Highlands to kick off the Michigan Amateur Championship, and he's going to give a little clinic later on. And we'll find out tomorrow morning what Gary McCord, who is known as a sort of a witty fella, had to say about Michigan and about Boyne, about the Michigan Amateur tomorrow morning, right here on this here program. Next hour, texting and driving. There's a Michigan man who apparently got 30 days in jail. What for? For killing a grandmother while texting and driving. Why did he get only 30 days in jail? We'll hear the rest of the story just after the top of the hour. In the meantime, tomorrow, later this week on Wednesday, we'll be broadcasting from Detroit, Michigan, from the OnStar Studios and the Renaissance Center there. It is now the headquarters of General Motors and the headquarters of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Will be talking to business leaders and entertainment leaders and all the sort of that kind of thing from downtown Detroit, which is one of the top tourist venues in the state of Michigan. When you hear about Pure Michigan, you often think of the northern areas, the Mackinac Islands of the world. Well, Detroit is heavily visited as well. And speaking of other completely egregious crimes, there's a Comstock woman accused of driving drunk with her children in the car. Kalamazoo police say she crashed her car into a utility pole last night on Portage Road, and in the back seat, a 3-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy not strapped into their child seats. They both suffered broken legs and other injuries, and she is charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicated. That's a dreadful story this morning indeed, and a sobering, if you'll pardon the pun, reminder. We are going to talk later, too, about the Miss USA pageant with Mike Hughes from MikeHughes.tv and the Miss Michigan pageant as well. Both of them took place this weekend. We're going to be saying goodbye to the space shuttle very soon. The very last launch is going to be on July 8th. And so the astronauts have now made their way to Florida. They're going to have a full-time dress rehearsal and a practice session and all that sort of thing. And 4 crew members will be doing that just before 5 p.m. today, 3 days of training. And the launch it's no joke. July 8th, it's the end of the space shuttle program. The last time you will ever see the orbiter and the solid rocket boosters and liquid rocket boosters launched from Cape Canaveral up into it's a really astonishing thing if you've ever seen one. I imagine there will be a gigantic crowd in that part of central East Florida on July 8th. It's the 135th and final launch of the space shuttle before that program is completely retired. Keith Olbermann back to TV tonight. Al Gore's Current TV is where his political show will go. Countdown with Keith Olbermann. Used to be on MSNBC and has now moved to Current TV. And Michael Moore is going to be his first guest. The guy from Traverse City, Michigan, who makes all those political films. He's sort of a liberal commentator. That's who Keith Olbermann will lead with. So, you may not like Michael Moore. You may not like liberal politics, but at least Keith Olbermann turned to Michigan to get the big bump he was looking for. That's tonight on Current TV. I don't know where you find Current TV or if all the cable systems have it or how that works, but it must be in there somewhere. And if you're interested in Keith Olbermann's return, that will be tonight. All right, we're going to get back with you in just a couple of minutes here with an inside look at what will happen at the U2 concert this weekend. What will go into converting Spartan Stadium to the U2 concert this Sunday. For now, though, it's Monday.
Come Monday.